Hello all, in this video we're going to be talking about the tactile system. So this is the sense of touch. So with the tactile system, so this is physical stimuli for touch, and these stimuli are mechanical, thermal, and chemical energy that affect the skin. So the tactile system really covers a large number of kind of perceivable feelings. So we have warmth and cold, we have pain, we have pressure. So rather than just one type of kind of feeling, then we have multiple different types that are conducted by the tactile system. So the human skin has at least 6 different types of sensory receptors, and these can be kind of split into different types. So we have mechanoreceptors, so these are responsible for touch and pressure. We have thermoreceptors, which is responsible for temperature, and nociceptors, which are responsible for pain. So with the tactile system, then we're able to localize where the stimuli is occurring very accurately, and that's due to the large number of tactile receptors throughout your body. So the nerve cells that carry the information about the tactile stimulation are routed through the spinal cord to the brain system. So the tactile pathways can then project through the thalamus onto the somatosensory cortex. Now remember when we were talking about the somatosensory cortex that there's different amounts of that cortex dedicated to different parts of the body. So those were those really weird diagrams with body parts in different sizes, and that correlates to the number of receptors and nerve cells that carry information from different parts of the body. So for instance, we have more tactile receptors in our fingers and hands than we do, say, on our arm, just because we use our hands for so much that it's more that we need all of those different types of tactile receptors. So they're more densely packed in our fingers, or even, say, on our lips or tongue, because we use that to talk and to taste, and other body areas like that, whereas body areas that we don't use to touch very much, like, say, part of your arm or your legs, they'll still have all these receptors, just not as tightly packed. Because the nerve cells carry the information straight to, from the spinal cord to the brainstem, it passes through the thalamus, which, remember, is our kind of sensory switchboard, and then to the somatosensory cortex, and that's where the perception occurs. Okay? So sensory adaptation can also occur with our perception of pressure. So again, if you think about wearing pants, or even when you're standing on the ground, when you first step on the ground, then your feet, the receptors on the bottom of your feet, will sense that pressure, but the longer you stand, then you kind of lose some of that perception. Of course, that can always come back because your feet will start to get tired, so then you'll start to sense it again. But for a bit of time, you will forget or adapt to that pressure and not be able to, and not really perceive it all the time. When perceiving pain, then pain does act a little differently than other touch senses. So the perception of pain can be influenced greatly by expectations, your personality, your mood, and other factors. So the same amount of, say, pressure or pain can be applied to different people, and people will perceive that pain differently. And even just talking to the same person, if you're in a happy mood versus a sad mood, you're probably going to perceive pain more intensely in a sad mood than happy mood, um, based on the different types of hormones in your body and just how you're feeling. There's been a few different studies that have seen this. So we've got when looking with a placebo effect. So again, if you're expecting it to hurt, it's going to hurt more. Even if, so like say someone says they're going to poke you with a needle, you're going to be prepared for that poke. So even if they end up poking you with a fake needle, so it doesn't actually go into your skin, you'll still perceive it as if it was a real needle due to this placebo effect. Also, culture. Some cultures are, it's a culture of not kind of expressing your pain as much, not being as expressive. So people will kind of dull down their feelings, and because of that, then they won't actually feel the pain quite as much. And then also some other contextual factors can also influence that. So really your attention can influence your pain perception. So again, if we're thinking about a needle, when you go to the doctor for a shot, then a lot of times they'll kind of be talking to you to distract you from what they're about to do, and you won't perceive the pain as much because you're not paying attention to it and you're not expecting it. Now, how can you block pain? There's one theory we're going to talk about here, and that's the Gait Control theory. And this theory holds that incoming pain sensation must pass through a gate in the spinal cord that can be closed, thus blocking the ascending pain signals. In other words, that there's a gate in the spinal cord that prevents us from processing the pain, because sometimes it's not beneficial to the body to feel pain. So this gate will kind of close off the pain signals from getting to the brain. Now, of course, this gate isn't an anatomical structure, but more of a pattern of neuronal activity. So really, it's more like the nerves decide not to pass on the information. So this is a big theory when studying pain itself. This led to major advances in the study of pain, and pain results from the opening and closing of this gated mechanism, it says. So events in the spinal cord can open a system of spinal cord gates that allows the nerve impulses to travel towards the brain. And this is suggested that acupuncture needles stimulate mostly the tactile receptors that will then close the pain gates. So that's why when you're being poked with a bunch of needles in acupuncture, you don't feel pain, but more this relaxing release of tension, because the acupuncture needles have closed the gate to this gait control theory. So again, when looking at blocking pain, you can also block pain via different neurochemicals or neurotransmitters in the brain, so such as endorphins and serotonin seem to help modulate the pain perception. So a lot of time you'll hear about if people are in a car accident, they won't feel pain right away because of the endorphins in their body. And what these endorphins do is they kind of take over the brain and prevent the pain signal from getting to the somatosensory cortex. So you still feel pain, but you're not processing it. You're not perceiving the pain. So endorphins are endogenous or internally produced morphines. So again, they're going to actually kind of act at the same receptor sites as the pain signals. So that's why it's blocking the pain by preventing the information to get to the somatosensory cortex. So that's it for the tactile system.